Now, those are jobs that which South Africans supposed to be, absorbed. Then I'm saying that, we need to deport all the illegals in the country.
Do you have empirical evidence to produce to say, based on evidence, we can say unemployment is caused by these people?
Mugabe, he destroyed a country while we were looking, while African leaders were watching. None of the African leaders, condemned him.
Good afternoon, South Africa. My name is Sema. They call me Sema. We are proud today because we are joined by one of the independent candidates. As we all know that South Africa will be going to the polls. Then we decided, to interview people who will be vying for positions of national importance. So today we are joined by one of the activists, someone who's been in the trenches, who understands the political spheres, who's been in the mining sector for a very long time. He advocates for the needs and also the plight of the poor. So today he'll be telling us more about what he's doing and where he comes from. And then we'll take it from there. Mr. Blessing RAMOBA.
Thank you very much, and greetings to you and to your viewers.
Thank you so much. Before we can even go further into what you are doing, because obviously there's a whole lot of things that you are doing. I personally know, and others know. We follow you on social media platforms, and then even your followers, you've got a huge following. What do you think, or rather, before we can even go there, can you maybe just explain to those who do not know you further, more than we do, who is Blessing RAMOBA, and then what is he doing, and the aspiration, of course, that you want to advance as an independent candidate?
Okay, my name is Blessing RAMOBA, and I was born here in Gauteng, in a very well-known place called Soweto. And my parents were working, my father, in fact, was working at Transnet, which used to be called Spornet. And when he retired, and that was 95, that's when we came back to Limpopo. And that's where I started my school. I did my primary school there and also my high school. And I completed my matric and I went to University of Johannesburg. So I grew up in the villages, in the deep villages of Limpopo. Under the districts of Tzaneen, but it's called Sekgosese. And I went to University of Johannesburg. I studied mining engineering. Not from a very good background, but I grew up in a very, family that I'm actually the first person to go to university. And I always tell people that, and I become very emotional when I talk about that, because I have lived poverty and I know poverty. And so I completed my studies through a bursary at the University of Johannesburg, and I later on finished my degree, mining engineering. I then did labor law. I went and worked in the mining sector, and I also left the industry to start the Mining Forum of South Africa, but that's not where my activism started. My activism started when I was still at the University of Johannesburg, under the Youth League, the SASCOs, and during that time, there were a few political parties that which you could, associate yourself with. It was the EF, the EFF was actually new. It was the DA, and which they call themselves DASO. And there was the Youth League. And so I started there. I became the chairperson for mining student, meaning a leader for all mining students. And I was having this responsibility to make sure that I make the environment conducive for all the students in the constituencies that which I was actually leading. I would go out to companies and look for bursaries. There are those who have graduated today because of my initiative. That's where it started. When you talk about a Facebook page which has got, or maybe social media which has got a lot of following, is because of things that which I do. I do approach companies, look for internships, practicals. I do approach companies for work, but not for myself, but for people that for South Africans in general, more in particular young people who are unemployed. It's because I hate poverty and I don't want to live poverty again. So when someone is without a job and they are suffering, that touches me a lot. So in terms of what I'm doing, my initiatives, in the public space of looking for jobs for people, is something that I do out of my heart. It's basically a passion. If I would give everyone a job, I will do that. But I later on, then, as I said, that I started the Mining Forum of South Africa. The Mining Forum of South Africa, I founded it in 2015. It's an organization that advocates for the communities in the way mining companies are operating. Also advocates for development and empowering small businesses in the mining areas. And also making sure that where mining companies are operating, infrastructure is built, like road, housing, there's what we call social and labor plans. But mining companies, many of them, they are not doing that. And that's what made me, to come up with the Mining Forum of South Africa. And, but you realize that, where we are as South Africans, there is a lot of high unemployment in the country. And the current government, I think that, they are taking the wrong decisions in terms of the direction of this country. And as a leader, I felt that, I think also I can add a voice in terms of policy direction that which this country must go. We then, founded a political party called the Employment Party. Employment Party is mainly to focus on employment creation, or job creation for the people of South Africa in terms of looking and coming up with policies that can be, relevant for the creation of jobs. And but we founded the party very late. It was registered, I think, around March, February, I want to say, this year, 2024. So we saw that, in terms of, campaigning with the party is we will need more time. And we decided to go as an independent candidate, and I came forward and we met the requirement that which was required for me to be able to contest for these coming elections. And I'm here as an independent candidate, and I'm campaigning, and so far the campaigns are going well.
Okay. So, but now I looked at your manifesto, and then I've noticed that there's serious issues you are discussing there.
Yes.
But I chose few that I think that are of paramount importance. You touched on the issue of education, economy, and local business empowerment.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is at the apex of your priority list? Or do you think all of them should be prioritized at the go? Let's say today you are...
All of them, they are important.
Yeah. But right now, let's say you get voted and then they choose you, you become the president today. Which one do you think should be prioritized over the others?
Employment.
How are you planning to do that?
Our people are suffering. I do visit areas where people live, less privileged people, and where many politicians can't even go. You will realize that, unemployment, some of the crime that so basically this is sort of a chain. If you don't deal with the issues of unemployment in the country, then you're going to have people desperate, causing crime, people desperate and, willing to do anything. You're going to have even crisis. Because when you are desperate, you can do anything, right? The unemployment rate in South Africa, we are sitting on about 32% amongst, the 32% to 40% in general. But amongst young people is 52%, meaning that 52% of our young people are sitting and idling, right? Are not doing anything. And those that are suffering, or young people, will go into drugs and drug abuse, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, and that also can lead to a crime, because some of the crimes that are committed is because people are under the influence of something. So to solve certain issues or the ills of the society, give people a means of living, give them a job, and by so doing, you are also giving them dignity. I like to believe that we've got 18 million people currently that are dependent on social grants. And those social grants, they are not just being given, it's because there is a crisis. Basically, the government does recognize that this country, we have got a crisis. And they're actually preventing a revolution, because imagine if those 18 million people were not getting anything, what will they do? We have got high levels of poverty in the country. And I would like to believe that when I say that we deal with unemployment, so unemployment, if we deal with the issues of unemployment, we're dealing with the issues of bread and butter. So those are issues which at the current moment, I think that is a priority for South Africans. And that's why we came with, the objectives of making sure that we come up with policies that we can create employment in the country.
Are you able to share maybe some of those policies?
So now, talking about the solution and how are we going to be creating jobs in the country, right? First of all, we need to deal with the issue of energy. No investor will invest in a country that there's no reliable, source of energy. For an example, power energy, in terms of, currently we generate electricity from coal plants. We need to make sure that we maintain those power stations and maybe also increase the life of those power stations in terms of maintaining them and reviving them again, other than us saving to destroy them. The government of the ANC came up with a policy of renewables energy, which they call them IPPs, or they call them just transition principle, where they get rid of coal plants. There is a plan to get rid of coal plants and have energy from renewables. Renewables are not base load in terms of, when you say base load, you mean that they only work during the day. Certain times they don't work, like solar and so on. So we still need the coal plants. In fact, what you're supposed to be doing, not destroy those, and in fact increase the capacity through these renewables. More importantly, we need the nuclear energy. No country in the world has ever industrialized without a source of energy. For you to be able to industrialize, you will need an available source of energy in the, in the country. So we need the nuclear. We need another power station of nuclear in the country. We can build one. We can build two. Maybe also add the coal power plants in the country. Something that is very, very interesting. While we are busy closing down the power stations, Europe, the demand of coal is increasing. Meaning that the coal that which we are mining today is going to Europe, whereas we are living in darkness. Currently, we don't have load shedding since for how many days now? Is it 10 or 7? Why? It's because we are consuming a lot of diesel, meaning that the fuel that which the source of power that we are having now, because of, they've prevented this load shedding because we are consuming more diesel, but then we are using more money than we're supposed to be using if we're using the available resource of coal.
So now, on that issue of load shedding, do you also subscribe to this school of thought that says the powers that be are in control of load shedding? They can decide that today won't be load shedding, and then tomorrow they decide that, no, today let's make it official that there will be load shedding.
I would like to believe that we do have a crisis of power stations. They were not maintained well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not the issue of this infrastructure being controlled by some individual somewhere.
No, I don't
so
believe that.
So there's no correlation between
what I believe is that we neglected our power stations before.
Okay.
We did not do proper maintenance.
Okay.
So now what we need is to make sure that we rebuild those power stations, the coal plants, because we've got a lot of coal in the country, abundant of it. Right? That's why now, Europe and China and the rest of the world, they are getting coal from our country. So let's fix the power stations. And answering your questions to say, how are we going to be creating jobs? Having fixed the issue of the source of energy, meaning that we have got a stable power in the country. That's when now you can start industrializing, meaning that manufacturers and of vehicles, maybe of cell phone and other things and other products will come and invest in South Africa because we have got a reliable source of energy. How many jobs were lost because of load shedding? There are many companies that closed down because of the issue of load shedding. But if we had a stable source of energy, we would have prevented those retrenchments that happened in the past 2 years.
Soren, I'm very much interested in what you are saying, but there is a very thorny issue that is not being discussed as one would think it should be discussed. We've got graduates, né? They graduate, they study, they graduate, they sit at home, they're doing nothing, né? And then there's those who, I think those ones are the most people who are always at the receiving end. You sit at home up until certain age. And when that age comes, we all know that you are no longer employable. How do you deal with that? How do you make sure that those people, those are the ones who will be vying for you. These are people who would like you to be their president. How then do you tell them that this is how things will change if you are appointed or if you are elected as the president of the country. Do you understand the situation that these people are going through? I mean, we all know that there is a certain age, 35 years of age. Chances are that if you are above, you will never get any employment in the country.
Yeah, you see, the policy that, under the current ANC government to say, if you reach 35 years, then you will not be employable in terms of internships and, the internships and, the work experience. Mm-hmm. And I also saw recently on the application, some people were applying for a police position, what you call training police, and they were saying below the age of 35, and that policy must be scrapped. Okay, it must be a plain field for everyone to be able to apply. We've got a lot of graduates who graduated long time ago, as we've said. And some they have been sitting at home without any internship, without any work experience, nor even employment. Those people, they are looking for opportunities. And one of the things that which we are pushing for under our manifesto, we are saying that the policy must be scrapped. Opportunities must be equal for everyone. If I want to be a police officer, if I want to be a soldier, if I'm looking for a position of employment, my age must not be a restriction. So meaning that it's one of the policies that which we are advocating to say that everyone must be able to get employment if the space is available. And also the issues of experience. Say, we need 5 years experience while you are even starting to work as a graduate or something like that. Those things are not fair. And we are saying that, you should be able to be employed, as if you are from, university or you do not have an experience, these barriers of restrictions to say you must have certain experiences. Those are things that which, they must get rid of in terms of, in the market of employment, to make sure that everyone is able to get the opportunity.
Yes. Now, those people that we are discussing about right now, particularly the ones who have already crossed that age, they have resorted to businesses, small businesses. And I think we all understand corruption and politics in that field, in that side of their struggle. Yeah. Now, how do you also motivate these people to say, vote for me? This is how we will support small businesses. How are you going to support these small businesses? Because this is their livelihood.
Yeah. So let me tell you something. There are policies currently that empower small businesses, the likes of CEDA and NYDA and other institutions that do give funding. But these are ANC people that are getting those opportunities. There is patronage, and so me and you, if we apply, we will not get those opportunities. But more importantly, I think that they must be,
So are they profiling these people before they could give them opportunities? Is that what we are saying?
If you are not connected, you can't get opportunities in South Africa, including employment. If you are not connected, it's very even hard to get employment in the government institutions. I'm talking about government institutions. And when you are talking about this funding, you're also talking about government institutions, right? They give opportunity to their own people, meaning that they just go and pick you from the street, wherever they know you are. They pick you from home, and then they say apply. They even give you, instruction how you must actually, put together that application. But me and you, ordinary South Africans, you can just go and throw your application there. You will not get, even a call from them. So we need to change that. I think we've tapped now into a topic of corruption in the country, and things that has been happening in this country. It's purely corruption. Opportunities should be available to everyone, to all South Africans, based on merit, meaning that based on how strong is your proposal and how strong is your business plan in terms of what you want to achieve, and the practicality of your proposals. But then this is what we need to do, right? We need to, after voting the ANC out, what needs to be done here is that there must be under the small businesses department, what they're supposed to implement there is a fair process of a program that must be done there to make sure that all small businesses that are looking for funding, you bring your proposal and what you want to achieve. There must be advisors in the background who looks at your proposal and also help you to implement that that program or your business that which you want to start. But it must not end there. Even when they've given you money, they must still follow up in terms of what you are doing, and maybe mentor you and give you mentorship. So the program should not end there. But the government has got a lot of money to do that, to make sure that all small businesses, based on merit, they must submit their proposals to small business department, and make sure that those business plans, they come to pass in terms of implementation. But also we must make sure that the government also allocates more money for those who are doing small businesses. It's not everyone who will go to and get employment. There must be those who must go and start businesses, those who are going to create employment. Remember, when you start a business, it's not for fun. You are also creating, and reducing, unemployment. Let's say your small business is employing about 5 people. By so doing, you are indirectly, reducing, unemployment. But again, small businesses must be left for only South Africans. Now you will say no, but you are now into the issue of immigration and so on. But yes, I'm now addressing that because of these things. As I said, they are interlinked to each other. Small businesses in South Africa must be operated by South Africans. South Africans today, they are competing with foreign nationals in the informal businesses, in the small businesses. What I usually tell people, I say, you cannot come to South Africa and come and have a business for for spaza shop. You can't come here and then you come here and sell vegetables. Those are not skills or that which we need in the country. What we need in the country, we need people who will come here and create employment. People will come and manufacture cars in South Africa. People will come here in the country and build and bring technologies that which we do not have, and come here and manufacture cell phones, come here and add value. Small businesses must be reserved for South Africans. And that's why one of the things that which we are advocating, or I am advocating as an independent candidate, to say, I want to be a policy maker. And one of the policies that which I'm going to, to push forward is that small businesses and informal businesses must only be operated by South Africans. South Africans must own saloons in the malls. Right now, you go across all the malls, you go, and then who's owning those saloons? It's mainly, most of them, 90% of them, they are owned by foreign nationals. And that must not be acceptable. You go also into these small, big malls or small malls, small shops, small businesses. There are, foreign nationals occupying those. Those are those businesses or those spaces supposed to be given to South Africans, to say South Africans here, maybe Mall of Africa or even mainland, those are places that South Africans must occupy those small shops. Then, but if you are a foreign national, if you are coming here, supposed to, for employment, you cannot come here and be a truck driver or a civil engineer. We have got those people to do that. We've got graduates who are civil engineers who are sitting at home. But today they are competing for jobs, even for skills that are not scarce skills. And what we are saying is that, or what I'm saying is, we should make sure that we change those laws, that to make sure that small businesses in South Africa are reserved for South Africans, and jobs that South Africans, you think about any job that a South African person can do. Those are jobs that should only be reserved for South Africans. You deport all the illegals in the country.
You deport?
Yes.
Okay. Or illegal?
Deport all the illegals in the country. Right. That's very, very important. We need to make sure that, we deport all the illegals in the country. Okay. Illegals meaning that people you cannot identify. Even though they can commit a crime now or kill anyone, you can't trace them because we don't have their fingerprints. Right? You don't know who are these people. Right? That's number one. The illegals take every job that you give them. And by so doing, because they take whatever money that you are giving them, right? There are many companies in South Africa that has hired, many companies that have hired, illegals in the country. And it is a criminal offense to hire a person who is illegal in the country. But they are absorbed in different companies, and those jobs supposed to be occupied by South Africans. But now foreign nationals are actually occupying those spaces, right? Where those jobs and they don't bargain. Whatever, if they give you 200 rand, or maybe 150 or whatever it is monthly, it's not a problem for them because they just want to stay in South Africa, right? But now, those are jobs that South Africans supposed to be, absorbed. Then I'm saying that, we need to deport all the illegals in the country. Secondly, if you want to come to South Africa, whether you are looking for a job, if you are looking for a job, you must be coming here to do a scarce skill. We are not xenophobic, but our people comes first, right? You cannot come to my house and you eat first, whereas a family member of mine is starving. I must first feed the person that which I live with here at home. And that's what we are doing. We are prioritizing much more, about, foreigners in the country while our people are suffering. What we are saying is we don't care about our people. Let's first give our people jobs. Then those skills that which we say we cannot do, those are the ones that a person can apply for a work visa to come to South Africa and work. And then they come and occupy those, those jobs. But you cannot come to South Africa and, for jobs that which we can do, whereas our people are unemployed. If we are doing that, automatically we really do not care about, the needs of our people. We really, then, if then we are not working for our people, whom are we working for?
But do you agree with me that majority of people that you are referring to, particularly the ones who take those jobs, small jobs and stuff, are our fellow brothers from African continent?
Yeah.
So do we really have or rather, do you have empirical evidence to produce to say, based on evidence, we can say unemployment is caused by these people?
Not only that, right? Remember, we are dealing with social issues here, right? What I'm just trying to say to you is, we have jobs, but some of the jobs in the country are occupied by foreign nationals, right? Some of the jobs must be given to our people. Not every job that must be given to a foreign national, okay? Those are immigration issues that we are talking about. We are talking about immigration issues which affects also the job market in South Africa, okay? But we are not saying people must not come here, but let them come. But when you come to do business, it's not every business that which you must do. There is certain business that which, you must do. Bring technology, bring skills that which we do not have, bring money, come and manufacture things here, come and open factories here, come and beneficiate, and create products in South Africa. Right? We need beneficiation in the country. We need to create jobs. We need more investment in the country. But come and add value. That's what I'm saying. Come and add value.
So no, you're raising a very important point.
Yeah.
My question is, if we were to be bombed today, South Africa is facing political upheavals for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Where will we run to?
Where will we run to? We've got defense force. Listen, what I'm trying to say is, I know many people, will think that this is xenophobic. Every country must respect its sovereignty. Sure. We have got a sovereignty as a country.
For sure.
In fact, one of the policies that which you are also advocating for, I am advocating for, is that we build walls across our borders. Let's build walls. We've got the defense force, which we are giving budget yearly, right? Year in and out, we're giving the money. And they are idling. We just recently, deployed about 2,000 people with about 2 billion rand in DRC there for stabilization, right? It's good. It's not a problem. But while we are dealing with issues to stabilize the continent, let's also deal with the issues that are affecting our borders. Our borders currently are porous. Basically, you can walk in and out of the country. Then you don't have a country. I'm not proud of that. I feel that my sovereignty is not, taken. It's not protected, right? But I would like to believe that, to protect our sovereignty, the sovereignty of a country, its own, we'll be proud of our sovereignty with our defense force strong, military strong, but also our borders must be strong. And that's what one of the things that which you are proposing to say, let's build walls across our borders. To say everyone who comes in and outside the country, is accounted. We know who you are, right? Recently, there are vehicles that are, taken and hijacked, from many South Africans. They are crossing the borders into Mozambique, going to Zimbabwe, going to, other countries, because it's basically you are just walking in and out, right? Then our people, they are not happy with that. What we need strong borders, not a chicken fence. Chicken fence, the one was built during COVID recently there in Musina by Bait Bridge there. We don't want that, right? Should I be elected in parliament, I will push for a policy that we build walls, right? We build walls. And that's a message that which I'm also bringing. Let's build walls to protect our sovereignty. By so doing, we are indirectly also, it's not only that, there are drugs, that are, crossing our borders, because we don't have borders anyway, right? It's just, people are crossing in and out. Human trafficking across our borders. Crime, think about crime that is happening there.
What is your take on Pan-Africanism?
I'm an African. and I love my fellow Africans. But also it's important that we all have to respect each other's sovereignty. Okay? And what do I mean by saying that? We have got all our territories, right? We need also to learn to manage ourselves, right? Look at Zimbabwe, for an example. Mugabe, he destroyed a country while we were looking, while African leaders were watching. None of the African leaders, condemned him, nor even maybe show, by sanctioning him. Because you look at Zimbabwe itself, all of them, they are leaders. They are running Zimbabwe while they are living in Sandton here in South Africa. Meaning that they are stealing money, then spending here in South Africa here at Sandton, that money from the crime of stealing there, they are buying properties and so on. And what we need to do is to sanction them and maybe ban them from coming to South Africa. The leaders, I'm talking about leaders, to say, if we see you as a leader, African leader, you are abusing your people, you are mistreating your people, maybe you have got a dictatorship type of a style, we sanction you, including whatever property that which you bought in our country. We actually, making sure that we're taking that away from you. By so doing, we even ban you from coming to South Africa. The likes of Mnangagwa, we had to wait for America to sanction him. So something that which we should have done. Really, under SADC, I think that we are a leader. If we see you as a country that, you are mistreating your own people, that's what but again, leaders of African countries must start managing themselves, right? We must unite as Africans, but we cannot unite in South Africa. We have got all our own issues in South Africa that are affecting us. We can't take all the burden of African issues, right? And then make it our responsibility. What we're supposed to do is to start engaging with those leaders to say that this is the direction that which you think, that we think as a country, as South Africans, that you should take because of your people are flocking into our country. And now what you are doing is that you are causing a crisis for us.
What is your foreign policy? In your manifesto, did you highlight the critical component of this issue?
Trade is very, very important, right? Trade, especially looking at the policy of free trade Africa is very, very important. That we start not only Africa but also the rest of the world, right?
But do you agree with me that if we are talking about free trade, then there must be free movement?
Correct. Exchange of course, exchange of goods, right?
Yes.
Yes.
The issue of you advocating for building of walls.
No, but of goods. We're talking about goods, right? We're talking about goods, trading with each other. Maybe also by some bilaterals that which we are going to have in terms of managing certain issues, to say how, if I want to register a company in your country, the process must be much more faster and easier for this and this. But that does not talk to immigration issues also. We need to make sure that we protect our sovereignty. And what we are saying is that we are not against people coming to South Africa. But what we are saying is, let's make South Africa safe. And now, when you talk about military, you cannot have a military that does not have borders itself. If you are talking about the South African Defence Force, all right? If you are saying that, what are they defending? Our territories, right? Our sovereignty, our borders. That's why we have got Defence Force. But also, those borders or those walls that we are talking about, they will assist them in terms of managing crisis that which we are dealing with in this country. And that's what we are advocating for. We are Africans, we love Africans, but we must make sure that also we protect our country in terms of our sovereignty.
Our health infrastructure in the country is in a very deplorable condition.
Yeah.
And part of that, I mean, there is a narrative, I'm not even peddling that, but there's people who are saying, even people who are working there are not showing any enthusiasm. They are saying there is
the morale is low.
The morale is low, lackadaisical behavior everywhere else. What are you planning to change that?
I recently,
or rather, how are you planning to change
I recently went to one of the hospital here in is it Pretoria West, side of Lodiamas, if you're going to Atteridgeville. Cheese. Is it
Pretoria West?
Yes. Is what?
Kalafo. Okay.
Cheese. Brother, I nearly cried. What I saw there is horrible. The infrastructure. And I had to ask, when was that hospital built? And they're talking about 1960s there. And many across the country can tell similar story. And I say, I mean, this government has not even tried to actually, revive this infrastructure, maybe rebuild and try to renovate, maybe, rebuild it. You go inside, even the floor, the tiles are broken, and it's like it's sort of like a pothole, basically. Then you go inside the hospital, you also look in terms of the infrastructure, the beds and everything. You will cry, my friend. I then realized that something needs to be done here. It's not only that. I also drove to Elim there, in one of the hospitals called Elim, is in the Venda area, that side. And what I saw also that side, it's bad. The infrastructure is falling apart, and these politicians are not doing anything. I then realized that it's time to vote the ANC out. We need a new government that can actually revive and rebuild our health sector, and also bring new equipments. We need new equipments in many of the hospitals. We just have health department by name, but I can tell you there are few hospitals that are very equipped. And if you look at those hospitals that are very much equipped, there are those that are found in the urban areas. But you go to to villages, to towns, small towns, and I'll take an example: deep villages of Limpopo. There are villages that do not even have proper infrastructure in terms of health, and some they don't even have clinics. For you to get a clinic, you have to travel and walk, or even travel to another village for you to be able to to be assisted in that matter. So I think that one thing that in the new after elections, what we have to do is that the government which will have been given the responsibility to govern this country has to prioritize health issues in the country in terms of the infrastructure. Maybe we also need new health center. We also need new hospitals. We also need new equipments in the existing health facilities, and also maybe also more training is needed. When coming to our our health team across the country, the morale is very, very low. I would like to agree, but I would like to believe that also we need to do more training so that, because there are many people that are complaining about the services that they get in the hospitals. They would say we're not treated well. We were returned and so on. I think that has to do with training that which is needed. But we need to revamp and maybe also restart afresh in terms of our health sector, in terms of how to go about building the health sector in the country.
You also spoke passionately about education reform.
Yeah, I think that is very, very important. the knowledge that which we gain in the university, or at schools, is not relevant in the job market. We go to school, many go to school, the graduates. Remember, I'm very close to a lot of graduates in the country. And you sit down with them, you try to engage with them in terms of things that they can do after graduation. They are not equipped to, the curriculum itself. It's equipping them for them just to get a job. Basically, it's not for them to stand on their own and maybe start businesses or something like that. So hence I'm saying that also our educational, curriculum has to speak to the reality in the job market itself. We are producing a lot of, graduates out of theoretical part of it. But again, when you're producing them, again, you need to also to produce those who will be able to stand out also in the job markets, and also create businesses. And also, if they are IT people, they must come and create, softwares and so on and so on. Many of them, they graduate, but they are not equipped to do anything apart from, having to get a job. So we have to change that. Look at China itself, right? Their educational, curriculum is also with practicality. So you are able to know the theory, you also know how to do something, and which is different with us. We want to do practicals while we are done with school, whereas other countries who are more developed than us and also industrialized than us, curriculum and practicals, they go together. Mm. And that's what I think that we need to start doing. Let's change our curriculum altogether. Then let's talk about the practicality of what they are doing. I shouldn't learn practicals of what I'm doing at school when I'm in the job market. Let them, be fused together and be one thing. When you graduate, you are equipped practically and also, theoretically in terms of the information that which you learn from universities.
But do you think more attention is given to TVET colleges?
We need to give more, attention to TVET colleges. If you want to industrialize manufacture in the country, you want to industrialize and also have manufacturing, the TVET colleges are very, very important because those are people, technicians. You're going to get them, the artisans, you're going to get them from those TVET colleges. I think that we need also, because we see that the one of universities where everyone is just going to get a university degree, it's not working. We've got more graduates who are unemployed coming from university than the ones that are coming from the TVET colleges. So meaning that we need to divert and look, maybe take more of our kids, to TVET colleges and enroll them there and do more practicals than we are doing more of the theoretical part of it.
Definitely. There's two impediments that our students are facing on daily basis or on yearly basis. Number one is Nsas.
Yeah.
It can fund you, and then when you are about to graduate, and then they can tell you that they didn't fund you for this period.
No.
And that particular person, remember, is a year that will be wasted. Let's say you are 34 years of age now, and then they don't fund you, and next year you'll be 35. Obviously, we are no longer going to count you. Not that they won't fund you because you are 35 years of age, but you will find yourself in a position where you cannot confidently say, I will get employment. You just pursue that degree or diploma, knowing very well that chances of me getting employment are very slim. So the situation itself becomes very dire. Number two is the issue of TVET students. Once they complete their N6, in most cases, those students will be told that they should do in-service training and all those things. And then they don't get those in-service training all the time. The process itself is very tedious. And then most students will be sitting home with N6 and then they are discouraged. How then do you place more RAMOBA if they decide to elect you because you are champion of that?
Yeah.
You've been working with students, you understand they applied. How then do you make sure that you change this thing? A student is sitting home with qualifications but is N6 and then he cannot find any opportunity to complete his studies. Remember, in order for you to get a diploma, you need to work, I think it's 1 year, 6 months, so that you can graduate. Now, how do you make sure that those things are being dealt with and then we don't have issues to deal with afterwards?
Okay, in terms of in-service training that we were talking about, every sector in South Africa, we have got what we call the SETAs, right? We have got SETA for banking, we've got SETA for mining, we've got SETA for mechanical, we've got different SETAs. Those SETAs are given, I know of mining SETA more because I engage with them, that they must train, the graduates and and those who are looking for practicals or in-service training. The SETAs have been given more than 2 billion yearly. And a lot of people, they don't know that. The SETAs, their responsibility, SETAs, they are called sector, education training authorities. What they do is to train graduates and those who come out of the, coming out of the TVET colleges, even those who have only got matric, the practical work, so that they're able to, to know the work. Basically, they are training them at the work field, right? So what happens is that the SETAs, there is a lot of corruption in the SETA, amongst the SETAs in South Africa. All those monies yearly in and yearly out, they are stolen and they don't train our people. What we need to do is to make sure that we look and focus on our SETAs to make sure that we eradicate or get rid of corruption within those and appoint people who are competent to do the work, to make sure that those monies. So basically the SETAs work this way. Companies approaches the SETA to say, can you give me about 100 graduates that I can train? Here is my proposal. Then what happens is that many companies, they do that, especially mining companies. They can request 10 graduates. And then the stipend of those, graduates or even the TVET guys, is coming from the MQA, for example, or any other SETA. But these institutions are not doing that. We need to make sure that we have neglected them. In fact, in terms of making sure that, oversight of these SETAs, to make sure that they implement, these programs, because these are different programs. It's not one program. You can want to be an artisan and so on. They can train you to do that. You want to be a miner. They can do that. Any specialty that which you actually belong. We need to make sure that we make these SETAs accountable and make sure that those monies that's supposed to be training our people, is used in the right manner, and make sure that our people are, who are looking. I can tell you, I engage, I hear these stories every day. I engage with these people. They are looking for practicals. They are looking for, in-service training and so on and so on. Mm-hmm. But I tell them, do you know that there is a SETA which you can apply for this training program and so on? But the problem is one, the money of those SETAs sometimes, for a financial year, they can give them 3 billion. Find that the money is finished before the year can end. Mm. And they're just sitting in the offices getting salaries, and while our people are suffering. There is opportunities for for training in South Africa through these SETAs. And that's what is important.
So the ones that you normally assist, how do you do?
I approach them to advertise. I approach all these SETAs.
Okay.
I approach, the companies also to approach the MQA also to MQA in other company, other seaters. Remember I told you, there are many seaters, more than one, right? If you are in banking, there is a seater for that. If you are in mining or even construction, has got its own, if you are doing arts, there is a seater for arts. And they are given, monies year in, year out, and they don't train our people. And it's one of the things that which you are going to focus. Those sitters, they can be called in parliament to account to say, this money, what have you done with the money that which you have been given? But you don't see it happening, the parliament, because they are accountable to parliament to say, we have used 2 billion rand, we have trained how many students, and these are skills that which we have equipped them. That's not happening. Should I be elected? What will I do with that? We'll call all the sitters to come and be accountable and tell us what are they doing, with this money that they get year in, year out, that's supposed to, assist. And also that money is supposed to assist the unemployment, those who are unemployed, with skills that they can do. Maybe you say you are unemployed. It's fine. What is it that which a program of 100 people that which they can do? Maybe we say, okay, you are going to learn bricklaying. Then we come up with a program for those 100, those who want to do bricklaying. We fund that. Then we go to another one. What do you want to do? We want to be, we want to learn IT, maybe programming for those in the IT space. Then they go for, for training for that.
But when it comes to the issue of funding, it becomes a bit challenging, because in most cases they will want you to have surety for that, and it becomes.
You mean in what space? Which space?
No, I'm talking about small businesses.
For small businesses, yeah. No, those must not be like that. There must not be a surety, the ones that which you are proposing. If you've got a business and you've got a business plan, and the analysis says that this is a bankable plan, you should be given money without surety, but there must be oversight over your business to make sure that you implement that accountability to make sure that you don't take money and go, and spend it on something that is not relevant to what. Remember, these programs, if you have been given as a small business, you have been given money, is to change your life and the life of people in your community, right? Meaning that you are going to create employment. You are also going to, provide services to the community where you. Let me just take an example. Let's say then you come up with a business plan to say you want to do a bakery, okay, in your community, right? You are going to, you need a building, first of all. It's either you are renting, you need machines to actually, to start baking bread, whatever it is. But more importantly, you are going to employ people from your community. You not only that, right? You're going to provide service to the people of your community, meaning that everyone is going to come and get bread. Other than people getting to go and buy bread, in town, in established companies and so on. But what you are doing here, you are also, growing the economy within the area where you come from. And that's what we are talking about. But then you will be having, competition of these, foreign nationals who are, occupying those spaza shops across. Hence, we are saying that it's time that we close those spaza shops and be given to South Africans. And that's the policy that which you are proposing to say, should we be elected? Should I be elected? We'll make sure that, those are the policies that which I will be advancing to make sure that those spaza shops that belongs to, foreign nationals in our communities, they are closed. And then South Africans must go and start operating their own businesses in those areas.
So, but because you keep on going back on that issue,
yeah,
I think we need to ventilate.
Yeah, because now I touched it because of, I was speaking about you are selling bread.
Yeah.
But now these are guys that which will be competing with, and which they also fake food. I mean, I'm not lying about that. You know that. They fake everything. Recently, I saw that they were selling water, and the water that they are selling, the pipe is connected inside the toilet and refilling. So basically, you are drinking water from the toilet. I don't know if you saw that. And there's a video training. Then apart from that, they sell everything, some of the product, they are fake. They can even, fake a Coca-Cola. Spices, the health of our people in those communities, they are at risk.
But in creating sustainable jobs, particularly for those in rural areas, I would like to believe that most of them, I'm not generalizing. They, for obvious reasons, they didn't maybe complete matric and stuff. Mostly they rely on EPWs. How then do you make sure that you also come up with concerted?
Those are our brothers, those are our sisters, those are our mothers who are living in poverty, many of them. You go in those deep villages of areas where we come from, whether be Limpopo, whether be Northwest, Mpumalanga, KZN, everywhere, the situation is the same. There is high poverty, high unemployment in the area. Some they don't even have basic services like water, So the situation is bad. So what we need to do is that the government, what other thing that which we can do is to make sure that there must be subsidies being given to those who wants to start businesses in those areas, in the villages, because now even the service like malls, they are now built in those in those villages. Many villages now they've got malls. So if they can build malls, meaning that we can now also start having factories also in those but then there must be some benefits that which we create for those who are able to risk it all and go and but not only that, it doesn't mean that everyone that who goes to university are the ones that's supposed to get opportunities. Even training, let's train those who they do not have matric. Even through these TVET colleges, we can do that. Look what happened during the apartheid. I'll take an example with my father, my own father. My father did not have any formal education. And guess where my father was working? Transnet. And guess what he was doing? He was fixing trains there. Even today, he still knows, if there was a breakdown of a train, they will be able to fix. And I asked him, say, did you know who taught you? He says, no. What happened was that they called us in, all of us, and they put us under training. Okay. My father was actually fixing trains that were going to Kimberley to Johannesburg, Kimberley to Johannesburg. Sometimes he will be in Kimberley. But what was he doing? He says, I was fixing train. Did you have any level of education? He says, no. So now what I'm trying to say is, we must copy what the apartheid did, in terms of, how they were trained. And you look in terms of the unemployment was very, very low. Our people were working, right? And our people were skilled, some of them. They created colleges for those who wants to do carpentry. There was a space for that. If you wanted to do welding, there was a school for that. Even when you did not have a matric, if you wanted to learn about engineering, there will be work for you in that field. So what we need to do is that now, even these TVET colleges, we need to start absorbing, whether you have got a matric or not, there must be, what you call a class of those who did not, make it for matric to learn to do, to work with their hands, because not everyone is equipped, of got the capacity to take this, information or to pass matric. So we know we have got those brothers and sisters, where we come from, but we can equip them with something.
So when you say we must copy apartheid way of training, what do you mean?
This is what I mean.
Is there anything positive?
There was positive. There's something. The ANC, when they came to power in 1994, they found colleges. There was colleges. There is one closed in Guyana. They called Gazankulu. What. There was another one, in the area of Limpopo. Also, across the country, there were where you would go and learn something. Work with your hands and learn to do work with your hands. It's either bricklaying whatsoever, during those times. But now those things are no more. There's no many of those programs to actually accommodate our people who, do not have, matric and so on. But I would like to believe that if we can actually come up with a program, or even under our TVET colleges, because we cannot build more of any other institution, maybe put them under the TVET to say, okay, these are people who can actually do work and work with their hands. Maybe, learn roofing there, learn tiling there, learn bricklaying there, learn painting there, So those are programs that the government must, initiate. Those are programs that must be initiated by government so that there can also be a certificate, attached to it. And by so doing, they are not only going to work for themselves, to go and be a painter somewhere and run their own company to be a painter or a builder, maybe, but also they can be absorbed. If you give them a certificate, they can be absorbed by companies that are looking for bricklayers, companies that are looking for painters or tiling, whatever. These are examples which I'm trying to give you.
Okay, in closing, there's something that a lay person will never understand, but would like to know more about. In terms of, you are independent candidate and you are represented in 2 provinces.
Yes, I'm represented in the province of Limpopo and Gauteng. So those are provinces which I'm going to appear on the ballot. Other provinces I'm not going to, to appear. But I think that there is a point that, we left out, especially on the job creation. And I think that for every country to be able to create employment, and I think that, is what, has called this interview in terms of why am I standing? I'm standing to create employment for our people. And the proposal for that is through industrialization in this country. We've got a lot of minerals, in the country, vast of minerals in the country. Be it gold, be it platinum, or what we call the platinum group metals, chrome, manganese. Think about it, coal, everything that which you can think of, iron ore. We do have all the minerals in the country. Think about it, if we beneficiate all our minerals in this country, maybe let's say 50% of our minerals, we beneficiate them in this country. And one of the things that we are actually pushing forward in our manifesto is to say, let 50% of our minerals be beneficiated in the country. And by so doing, that's how we are going to be able to create jobs. We must force these companies that want our minerals to make sure that they beneficiate in the country, and the minerals that which, they mine in our country, they manufacture products and cars and cell phone in our country.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate. We can't finish. I know you are very passionate about the subject.
Okay.
But we really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very nice discussion.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
We really appreciate it a lot. In closing, I just want to make it very clear to everyone that you did not pay us. We did not get a cent. We give everyone opportunity to be part of us. Anyone who wants to come and campaign, we will definitely welcome. Not only campaign. I mean, any person who feels that he wants to be part of our podcast, we do that to each and every person who really thinks that we can be of assistance. We really appreciate it a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, South Africa, for watching Pull Up with Sema. My name is Sema. See you next time.